We are very honored to have this next gentleman as our guest speaker this evening, and I'm honored to have been asked to introduce him. But to most hockey fans, Mike Richter really needs no introduction. You've seen highlights from his career, you'll know a lot of his big saves, especially his Stanley Cup win in 1994. He grew up in Pennsylvania, playing hockey, and went on to play at the University of Wisconsin-Madison before being drafted by the New York Rangers in 1985. In 94, as I mentioned, he won Stanley Cup with the Rangers, their first cup since 1940. Later on, his jersey was retired, number 35, by the Rangers in 2004, and he's recognized as one of the greatest goaltenders ever, played a game, especially for the Rangers. So, following his retirement, Mike went on to Yale University, where he earned a degree in ethics and politics with a concentration in environmental policy. He's currently a founding partner of Healthy Planet Partners, a finance and consulting group, as well as environmental capital partners. He is presently very involved with bringing the best ecological practices to the sport industry. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Mike Richter.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I thought that's great. I'm blown away. I've been to this area before. I've got friends who live outside of Media, and I think it's truly one of those places where if you know about it, you do not tell anybody else. Your secret's safe, because it is stunning and never been on this campus. And boy, I can see why the young men are as excited as they are about this place, because it is something. It is an honor, actually, to be able to speak here tonight, and you guys have this. It's a pretty impressive following you have, and to be asked to speak. You have great teachers here, you have great students, you have accomplished alumni. So to be asked to speak about my vision of what success is a bit humbling in a way, and that's what I will speak about tonight. Just hear my words of what they are. This is my experience, and hopefully you can take some of it with you, ask some of the questions that I asked along the way. You can apply it to your own experience, right? Well, as Michael said, 20 years ago today, I did sit in the same spot as a couple of these students, full of excitement. And 23 years later, I graduated from college, so you might want to think about what I'm going to say. Consider the source of these comments, please. But I am excited to share what I have with you today. So, my good friend Blandy asked me to think about coming up here and speaking. I did know a lot about the school, and like a lazy man that I am, I Googled Salisbury, and the pictures are stunning, and I started reading a little bit about it. And what caught my eye was the crest. I think it's actually very important, given what I'm going to talk about today. The title of what I'm talking about is so self-important, but it's the journey to success. Question, effort, discipline, character. Effort, discipline, character, answer honestly. And here's your crest, right? It's colored red for bravery. The shell is a symbol of the spiritual journey or pilgrimage. The arrows are for preparedness. The open book for learning. And quite fitting, right? Because we are speaking about your time here. The meaning of success, or life itself even, all those things. They are a journey, truly speaking about. And for this, you must constantly prepare, from which you'll continue to be learning. And above all, during which you do have to be brave. And I think those words can get a little bit trite, but I can tell you since the years of retirement, since I retired, which was 2004, it seems like it's accelerating now. I really do. I miss competing and playing at that level every day. It really fed me more than I expected it would. I loved playing as a kid, but there was much more to it. It wasn't a game anymore. It was very much about a personal challenge on a daily basis. And since that time, since retiring, I've went back to school, finished a degree, started a young family, and now I'm in a whole new career. And I still draw on that experience that I had playing ice hockey. So, 30 years of playing, I felt almost sad because you have this skill and your body ages and you can't compete at that same level anymore. but there's a know-how that goes with it, and it only gets better with time. Yet what do you apply it to? And I do think these things translate to every really endeavor that you want to do. So I'm going to speak about my experiences in sport. Understanding that's the metaphor I'll be using, but it does apply, it does translate. The things that I think I'll be speaking about in terms of success, I want to think about success as a journey, not a destination. And it requires basically three things, as I said in the title: effort, discipline, and character. The very first is the concept of the journey, right? All journeys are short in this lifetime, all will end, and you cannot control any of that. You can't control the quantity of the time, but only the quality of the experience. And they are just words. I told myself that a bunch of times, but it's funny, you know. One minute you're just a kid loving to play ice hockey, I'd go and fill it off like anything else. The Flyers were winning Stanley Cups at the time. I liked athletics, I going to hockey. Played with my brothers in the driveway. The next thing you know, you fashion a career. You say, I want to play the next level. And you fashion a career. And you think it'll never end. I knew it was going to end, but it didn't make any sense to me. And before you blink, it's over, right? You're the old man giving a speech to the young group. And so I guess what I'm trying to get to you guys to understand, particularly the young guys here, this journey is very short. The impermanence of an opportunity you can't understand probably until it's over. So try to enter and get that perspective the sooner you can, the better. There's a story that illustrates this idea, and it's actually about a snail. A small snail is walking down the street, and he's mugged by two turtles. The police arrive and ask, actually I keep my phone off, I'm getting bored, my wife's going to email me. The police arrive and ask what happened. And the snail replies, I don't know, man, it all happened so fast. I'm just giving you just a little bit of a story because it is about perspective, right? To a snail, two turtles are very fast. And to you guys sitting here, you guys that are going through this unreal place, it is going to be over in a blink of an eye. You're going to be in college, you'll be out of college, and you're going to career, and you go, what happened? So, I mean, glad I'm just laughing about that. Like, where has that time gone? So, why is that significant? Make the most of your opportunities. You'll hear this at every graduation speech, but it's just true. Make the most of these opportunities. This journey is very, very short. Enjoy it. You can really control only how full they are, right? And this, I think, is the key. Think about process, not outcome. The outcome is going to happen. And the more you consider the process, the more chance you have of having success on that outcome. Whether it's finishing a homework assignment or anything else, immerse yourself into it. I know as a kid, man, you want to get your bigger and better things. When I was a kid, I wanted to get to the next level. I wanted to play in the Olympics. I wanted to get to the Olympics. I wanted to get to the pros. I wanted to get to the pros. I wanted to win. On you go. Man, there is that journey, and before you know it, it is over, and you can't get it back. So I really want you to kind of think about that idea. I'm sure it's not been lost on you entirely, but it only gets more as the days go on. I'm all for setting goals, but it is, as I said, ironic that the more you think about the process, the more success you'll have in the outcome. There's a great quote by Aristotle, and I think it fits here. Good in any organism is using that which has been endowed to its full potential. And really, the only way to reach your potential is to fully immerse yourself in that present moment, right? I think as a goalie, and likely you know this, the minute you start thinking about the next shot or the next play when the guy who just scored is going to come back down, what if? You can't get what if, you can't think behind what just happened, the regrets. I'm not saying don't be introspective and all that, but it's the best time and place. And while you're trying to achieve something, you have to focus on the present moment, right? The problem is, to realize excellence, again, the process has to become your goal. I'm not just trying to throw words out there. The process has to become your goal. If you want to make that Olympic team, it doesn't magically happen. What are you doing today? What are you doing right now? What are you doing tomorrow, next month, next year? Take care of that goal. The process becomes your goal. The outcome will take care of itself. I suggest that a snail might be your new symbol for the journey. not the show. Maybe it's not show, right? Over the course of my career, I've played with and against and among some of the greatest athletes and managers that my sport, ice hockey, has had. And I learned, I think, an awful lot about the meaning of competition and winning and what it means to be successful. And I've got 3 young boys now, and it's disturbing. I think now more than ever, there's a misunderstanding about what those concepts represent. And we hear people saying things like, she's a great competitor. He hates to lose. Who likes to lose? Nobody likes to lose. Few people really enjoy that, right? The question is, how much do they want to win? How willing are they to do whatever it needs to be done in order to see success? This defines a person's mental toughness, professionalism, and most importantly, their character. And we'll talk more about character, especially in the end. But it can come in a number of forms: playing through injury, going through a rough personal time emotionally, when the team has had a rough go, all kinds of ways you have to find a way to bolster yourself and come with that level of energy. And mustering that energy when things are going well is easy. When they're not, it's very tough. So it all begins with motivation. This is our first key point. Motivation is a fundamental characteristic of success. There's nothing more important. Without motivation, there's no discipline, there's no work ethic, there's no strategy, and there's ultimately no success. Motivation is pure and simple energy. Okay? It's intensity. With it, you have courage, possibility, and potential. And the key here is something that you can control. It's a choice. How much do you apply yourself to that thing? How much you need it here and now? So when we talk about mental toughness and competitiveness, we're really speaking about how willing you are to apply yourself, to take a risk regardless of the circumstances, okay? Are we responding to every situation with the best effort? And that's your challenge as an athlete, or a husband, or anybody in a professional career. It's what separates the good guys from the great guys. You think about the great performers: Muhammad Ali, Roger Federer, Michael Jordan. These are a little bit older guys. That's some of you young guys find, but they're recognized for not just their ability to play at a high level, but their ability to consistently perform at the upper realms of potential. And that is our goal. It's their challenge as athletes, and it's yours as people. Back to that Aristotle quote. But of course, right, if this was easy, everybody would be doing it. The price, there's a price to pay. It's often very, very high. The sacrifice, work involved, the discipline, the pain and patience necessary to get the job done. But in my experience, that payoff for something that you really value is always, it's exponentially more rewarding than the sacrifice that you put into it. I had a teammate, Kevin Lowe, back in 1994, where we did win the championship. And we were an older team. We brought some veterans in to help us compete and actually handle some of the stresses of the playoffs. And for those of you who don't know, we were in a 7-game series playing against the crosstown rivals, the New Jersey Devils. And it's 1-0 in this game. You win this game, you go on to the finals for the first time in 40 years. These guys we'd seen probably 10 times with training camp and across the season, and we knew these guys well. And we knew their wives, we knew everything about them, they knew everything about us, and there's a lot of emotion there. And we got beaten up in that series in 82, and 7 seconds left to go in the 7th game. They tie it on a scramble and a blowout. I was screaming. And so there's a lot of emotion there, right? You're already thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to the finals. We've arrived. We've done this thing I've looked to do my entire life. Boom, gone. And to be able to pick up those pieces at that moment is very, very difficult, even for a veteran team. So I can recall walking into the locker room with broken sticks, and there's Gatorade on the floor, and some guys with their hands in their head in their hands, and it's just quiet. Nobody's saying anything. And you're looking for somebody to take the lead on it. So you're angry, you're scared, you ignore it. And Kevin Lowe, he seemed like he was 100 years old at that time, but he had been through 5 championships before that. And he said, it's all right. If it wasn't so hard to do it, it wouldn't feel so good when you do it. It'll be that much sweeter when we win. I think as I recall it, almost nothing else was said. Guys are usually gathered and all that, a lot of computers. And it just sort of righted the ship. I'm not sure everybody bought into it at the time, but ultimately, we did go out and win the 2 more overtimes. And the reason that that series and that game and that moment is so meaningful to me is because it was that hard. Had this been a blowout where the other team wasn't playing well, had we performed under our potential but still won, well, you still get the win, but it's less meaningful. And that's where the value is. Those difficulties in responding as well as you can is where you find out what your potential is. So you invest more energy, or you can withdraw. That choice is always there. And of course, it's the irony. It's easiest to work hard when things are going well. Everybody's great. When I'm up 7 or 8 nothing in a game, I think I'm going to win it. I'm saving everything. What happens when it's that 1-0 game and the game's along? What happens when it's 1-1 and it goes into overtime? You just made that mistake. Different story, but it should be. And success means overcoming those things and putting the energy in there as opposed to withdrawing. So you must have courage to compete. You take a risk, even if that means coming up short. And this is a key. At this point, I really want to comment on what I consider perhaps the least discussed, the most critical component of that journey to success, and that is failure. We don't talk about this much. It's kind of like that. We want to pretend it doesn't exist. But we hear about winners all the time these days. We want to build winners. What we lack is people who know what to do with the failures that inevitably come their way. And therefore, they're less prepared when the challenges arrive. Bill Gates once said, it's fine to celebrate success, but it's more important to heed the lessons of failure. Okay, you will fail many, many times. Mark Massey, the captain on my team, he came up to the steward, God, I don't know how many goals, but he had already been basically, we knew he was going into the Hall of Fame. He was kind of an iconic guy in the locker room. At one point in his career, think about this in all team sports, he had played in 7 of 15 Stanley Cup finals. He hadn't won them all, he won, I think, 5. That's 7 of 15. That means every other year of his career, he was fighting for a championship game, which is pretty much unprecedented. But even that's a 50% hit rate, okay? What's a good batting average? 300, 400? Tiger Woods, I don't know what he once was, but it was 1 out of 5, 1 out of 6 championships is almost unheard of. You're missing 80% of it. You're going to fail. You're going to fail a lot. So you're going to have to learn from those failures. So you're going to have to deal with them in a way that doesn't destroy you. My point here is you cannot be afraid of failing. We tend to exclusively focus on the successful experiences, but our struggles can be a moving time for growth. The road to success is rarely a direct line. So how we deal with setbacks and adversity matters. I really think that some of the most important lessons of my athletic career come from those difficult times. You learn about perseverance, about self-reliance, about adversity. And every guy I played with, the most successful, again, Messi's, all those guys, Gretzky's, they have their failures, they have their oops moments, and they respond in a certain way. I can remember I was in the minors, and you have this trajectory, as I say. You're in high school and you want to get to college. You get to college, you play Division I, you start to feel comfortable. Now you want to dominate if you can. I made the Olympic team in '88. I played the Olympic team. I signed with the Rangers. And they sent me to the minors. Oh, wait a minute. I thought I was the next thing. Well, maybe I was, but there was a couple guys that were a hell of a lot better than me in front. What do you do with this? So, you work. You don't wait, you work, you get better. And I can remember the following year at the training camp, and I'm better goals against average. I thought it was the best thing. They sent me to the minors. What is going on? I can remember Bill Smith with GL and watch me play a game. I think unbelievable. And right at the end of the game, they tied it up. Okay, I see a pattern here. They tied it up, and 5 minutes into overtime, kid comes across center ice, takes a stop shot, score. We lost. He said, he was really nice. I was just like, hey, I don't think I've ever seen that. I was thinking to myself, you haven't seen it because you've been watching pros. And kids in the minors do this. Pros don't. And that's why I'm in the minors. And so you got to take a hard look in the mirror and go, there's probably some improving that I need to do here. And if I don't get myself together, I won't be in the pros. It wasn't like I was playing in the minors and just having a good time. I was working, but it kind of was a slap in the face that said, there's going to be setbacks. Deal with them and work harder. So you need to apprentice yourself to something, whether it's a new job or skill. what life asks of us, okay? Forget the hockey for a moment, forget the sports. I mean, you have to hazard yourself to participate on a meaningful level in anything. And this is what sports is all about. Taking risks, not boringly, this is what life's about, but being able to perform, even grow under pressure. I'll give you a disclaimer on the following two examples that I'm going to use, and I'll come back to their personal shortcomings in a second. But speaking about not being afraid of fail, I want you to hear this. Lance Armstrong's coach, when I was back at school, I had lunch with him. And he said, when he saw Lance as a young kid, he said what separated Lance more than anything else was that he's simply not afraid of fail. Yes, he had a great deal too, and he was this and that, and he was good at it. No fear of fail. I'm going to set up right now, I'll call it and run this race. I don't care if I fail. I'm going to just absolutely lay it on the line. He said he knew he had something very, very different inside him, not just physically, but emotionally. And I mean, this means he said he feels that the only way he has a chance of winning is if he gives his best effort. There isn't a conversation that goes on in his head. It's a piece of equipment he puts on. I'm playing, best effort. This is meaningful to me, nothing but as hard as I can work. He was never afraid to try his hardest, to put himself in line both physically and emotionally. Tiger Woods is another guy, and again, we'll come back to both of these, is a great example of someone who's not afraid to take a risk. If you recall, when he was younger, he had a straight line to incredible stardom. But when he won the Masters, he had decided before winning the Masters, not only that, he was going to win soon, that he was going to rejigger his entire golf swing. Can you imagine? You have how many great golfers in the world that are working their entire life to get to that pinnacle, to win the Masters? And he said, I have won the Masters, but I can do better. I have more potential in me, and let's take a step back. So giving up some of that success that I have right now. He knew he was going to be out in 11 months or so. He was a worse golfer than he was when he won the Masters. But he knew he'd be better off than he was. And then he went on to win how many, and other things too we'll speak about. But very, very courageous. You think about both of those guys. Too often, I think, out of fear, you hold yourself back. You play it safe. That means there's always a readily available excuse, right? If I tried harder, I would have won that race, gotten that job, performed well in that test. Teddy Roosevelt once said, far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy nor suffer much, because they live in the gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. You know a few things about yourself in the line. So, the struggle to react to your best effort in the face of all obstacles, even failure, is truly, in my opinion, the secret to success. I don't want to beat this up, but there's a great line from the poet Wilkie, and he said, you think about what we choose to fight, and it's so tiny. We have so much capacity, and we pick these tiny little fights, we know we can win. He goes on with his wonderful line, winning does not tempt that man. This is how he grows, by being defeated decisively, by constantly greater beings. I think it's an extraordinary line. Leigh Herb Brooks was one of those guys. I don't know if you know that name, but he is the coach that won the Miracle Olympics, Lake Placid, 1880. Group of true amateurs playing against this machine that is the Soviet Union's Red Army, basically. And he became the coach of the 2002 Salt Lake City team, and I was hoping to make that team. Very different scenario. Now it's all pros. You can't bring 20 pros into the room that you're going to have for 10, 12 days and say, this is how the world works. We are playing 2 weeks, we have no control, so it's very, very difficult for a coach. Herb did not care. He's a very, very motivated man, and he said, look, we're going to do everything we can win. I know you guys get paid to play, I know you have responsibility to your team. You're wearing the U.S. sweater right now. Your responsibility is mine, and we're going to do everything we can to win. So I was getting toward the end of 2001, I blew up the game. I had this big injury, the team was struggling, and I really felt like just coming around, we're going to make the playoffs, I feel great, here we go, and I tore my ligaments in my right leg, and I was pretty devastated. It had taken me a long time to get back to that form. I knew what was ahead of me, it was a long, long ordeal, and I was kind of down. We just had our first child. I was sitting in New York, and the phone rang, and my wife came in. I said, I'm not talking to anybody. He meet you, or friend giving you crap. So, bit of a fun. I very nice guy to the point. You need any help, you need anything else, you think we have a great team, you think you're going to be part of it. He really got to the point right away. I said, look, I'm not going to have much control of this team, but you're going to see a lot of other peers that will make the team. Do me a favor. Tell them one thing. You're going to see this guy's out here, but not go leech and all those countries. Yeah. Tell them this quote, please. The legs feed the wolf. Silence. I don't know this guy. Yeah. He said, do you know what that means? I said, sure. Yeah. No. No, I don't. The wolf eats what it kills. The only the wolf that is strong enough to catch the prey, gets to eat. Translation, do a bit extra. Do one more sprint. Eat one less donut. Get up a little earlier and work just a little bit more this August, so that this September becomes a training camp a little bit in better shape. So that you're a little bit better than the world-class athletes that you're going to be fighting against. For him, these guys are all the same. All great athletes. But somebody is going to be able to put more energy into this thing. We went on one silver medal that year, and Herb was the most intense man, not like her. And there's some pretty crazy intense players that played with him. He's just incredible. I just give you that example. He was a man totally motivated and unfettered by fear. He had already won this miracle race, and he puts himself on the line in so many other ways. He will never take less than that. So the second point, we're talking about effort, motivation, intensity, putting it over, right? That's playing hard. The second thing is motivation. You have this energy, right? Playing hard is great. You need to play smart. And that's the second one. The most important quality I think you can really have is self-discipline. Certainly bringing energy is a form of self-discipline, but just playing hard is not enough. You know it, you have to play smart. It's described in many ways: emotional intelligence, mental toughness, self-control. In short, it's giving maximum things, focusing on the here and now, as you spoke before, minimum things to that which you can't control. Energy comes in many, many forms. I can go in, I can be angry, I can do all kinds of stuff. If you want to reach your peak, you don't go low, you go high. Lots of energy. You don't go negative, you go positive. And we all know that. There's a time and place for being angry, being upset, but the script is always the same to perform. High positive energy. You roll with problems, you keep going, and you come back with the top amount of effort you can bring to that endeavor. So think of it as fuel for fuel performance for sport, right? I had a Pee Wee coach who used to say, your faults are food for your emotions, right? Your faults are food for your emotions. So think about that. Like, I'm saying, I played against this team last year, they let me up for 7. What kind of emotion am I going to have? Am I going to go in there and say, this is great? Maybe if I say, well, this time I'm going to get it. How I set this up, your faults really matter. You control your faults. It's hard to do when you're in control of it. So he'd say, look, if this is the fuel that you're running on, how do you think about this? Mike Jordan doesn't go in there. Give me a modern day example. LeBron James doesn't go in and say, I'm not really good against the Knicks. They yell a lot in the stands. He's going to say, I'm going to play my best. I wasn't good last time, I'm going to be better this time. It is fanatic how we do this stuff. You have to. You wouldn't put muddy water. This is a pretty good line he said. You wouldn't put muddy water in a gas tank or a Ferrari and expect it to perform. And don't soil your mental toughness with sloppy thinking. You are in control of your thoughts, and your thoughts control your emotions. That is not a small connection, and you've got to think you can control it. So it's more than just coming with that energy. It's coming with smartness. We have to fuel our performance with high positive energy no matter what situation. One guy that I had the pleasure of playing with, that really thought this was Wayne Gretzky. This guy came to New York at 36-year-old, something like this. And he still was a hell of a player when he came. But moving right, I was playing with him in practice. Better than I thought he was. I didn't play him out west, so I didn't see him that much. But clearly, the guys were $1 million. Seemed like half of them made. He was good. He would come to practice on a dreary February morning after losing 2 in a row and score a goal in the power play, and you hear this, wow, this echo through the building. This is a 36-year-old man who has every record in the books and no memory broken. He carved out a sense of enjoyment. that embarrassed 19-year-olds that were just coming up. He found a way to have high positive energy all the time. It was like putting on the skates. He didn't always feel well, he didn't always play well, he always responded well. So he was always in the upper limit of his potential, which was high. But it was incredible. That in itself, he said, well, what is it? Is sticking on the big guy? This guy comes in here like he's 10 years old. He's a kid making sort of every day somehow. There's a great story that illustrates this point, right? This idea of thinking smart has to be honed. It's a muscle that needs to be exercised. So one evening, an old Cherokee chief told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, my son, there's a battle between two wolves that live inside us all. One wolf is evil, it's anger, it's evil esteem, it's envy, jealousy, sorrow, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, I could go on, it's a lot, ego. The other is good, it's joy, peace, hope, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, faith. The grandson looked at the old man, thought about it, then asked his grandfather, which one wins? The old Cherokee replied, the one you feed. The point being, are you the guy that gets up there when you're about to throw the free throw? I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss, I'm going to miss. What are you going to do? Or are you the guy saying, this is the last one, I will get this. Which wolf will win? Which are you feeding? Which are you, which way of reacting are you ingrained into your being? And there's an awful lot of metaphors. I have a great coach that used to say, look, you're in your house, it's snowing out, you're going to get to that wood pile. You can come with a lot of energy, yeah, and start digging in this direction, and then this direction, and in this direction, 100% effort, each way. You never get to where you're going. No, you go with as much effort as you can, and you dig straight to the wood pile, the most direct line to where you want to be. That's what this metaphor of wolves, like you do not stop thinking. Think of digging wells. You don't try 14 different wells that are shallow, one deep, but you have that muscle and you have to keep exercising. So to review, we have to perform that as willing to give 100% effort, regardless of the circumstances, not afraid of failing, and constantly hones its discipline. They may win, but they're really lacking, in my opinion, the final ingredient for success, and that is character. This is the part of self-discipline, where integrity enters the picture. There's a memorable line from a commercial, I don't know if you guys have seen this some years ago about a tire. I know I've reduced the car commercials about it. I'm almost done. Power is nothing without control. And this is true of our desire of making. A single-minded pursuit can blind our perspective. We can become so self-centered as to justify anything. The fact that I used Lance and Tiger as examples earlier, a consistent effort to win is not a mistake. They were fanatical about the preparation and the desire to be the best. They were supremely self-disciplined in a dangerously narrow way, I think. There are also examples of what happens when you lack balanced perspective and lose integrity. And the world is full of such examples. It's not just in sports, but we're hearing more and more and more. Politicians taking bribes, bankers cooking the books. These actions lack integrity and short-circuit the process. This is not success. And you can win that hour game. You can be fine on the scoreboard. You can have a big bank account. But you can still lose that in the challenge and really not go through the process of what success is. There's no bravery, learning, or even much of a journey. It's a shortcut. All motivation, all energy is nothing without that control. The discipline to keep perspective. It's a story about a lookout on a battleship. Okay, so this battleship's cruising through the North Atlantic. And the guy on the spots the light off the starboard side, not the starboard bow. The captain tells him to signal the other vessel. Advise you change your course 20 degrees immediately. He says it's light in the darkness. The answer comes back, advise you to change your course 20 degrees immediately. The captain is absolutely furious. He signals, I am a captain. We're on a collision course. Alter your course 20 degrees now. The answer comes back, I am a seaman. second class, and I strongly urge you to alter your course 20 degrees. Now the captain is beside himself with rage. He signals, I am a battleship with the U.S. Navy. The answer comes back, I am a lighthouse. We can forget as we expand with pride and our accomplishments. There are bigger things than us in the world, and no matter how large we think we are, no matter how much we want to win, the rules still apply, and character still matters. So how do you find this balance? A closing, really great friend of mine, a coach that I had, said, if you can answer yes to the following 3 questions, after each time you play or practice, then you've won. This is success regardless of the score. Number 1, did I play my hardest? Did I give 100%? The effort. Did I maintain a healthy, positive attitude regardless of the situation? That's the discipline. Did I take responsibility and play with integrity? You don't blame the win, the cheating, opponent, the ref, or make excuses for anything that you would regret. As simple as it sounds, it'll change your outlook profoundly. You have to understand that in success, the real battle is against ourselves. Self-challenge is the ultimate competition. The point is, there's a higher standard by which you must be against yourself, right? You have to hold yourself accountable. That's the learning, the growing, the competing, and improving. And we have to think of this outside of the wins and loss column, because we all have been there. We've had a half-ass effort. We've not reached our potential. Yet you're on the scoreboard, and so you can kind of walk away and be like, great job. And you know, somewhere there's a work someone. It wasn't. I was lucky or fortunate, or I got it. Wayne Gretzky tells an incredible story. He was retired when he was a Ranger, and to understand him, kind of, this was his last game in the Capitol in Ottawa. And we're sitting around, and we loved to tell stories. He had a pregame meal about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Wayne was just sitting there telling stories. He could feel his career was slipping out from under him, and he didn't want to quite let it go. But he was, this is where it was. He was happy with it. And so, when he was a kid, he was driving home from the game. I understand Wayne Gretzky as a kid. When he was 12, they had his games nationally televised across Canada on CBC. He scored somewhere over 200 goals as an 11-year-old. It was just, a treatment moment. So he was coming home, and their team had just lost 7-4. Wayne had 4 goals. He's in the back seat eating ice cream, donuts, whatever it is with his buddy, and his dad's driving, looking a little upset. And he dropped off his friend Jerry. Jerry was down the driveway. Dad drives down the road about halfway, pulls the car over, puts it in the car, turns off the car. And I knew he was in trouble. And his dad turned around and said, I never, ever want to see that happen again. And he's like, I scored a hat trick, and then I got another goal. Wayne, you know, and I know, you played at half speed. And that's okay if it doesn't mean anything. But it means something to you, and that meant something to your teammates. And it meant something to all those people, even many, many miles around to see you. You have a God-given talent. Your job is to fulfill it. I don't care how good you are. I care how much effort you put into each that potential. We don't know where you're going. We know you'll never get there, but they have big effort like that. I'm glad you scored 4 goals. You could score 8. You let your teammates down, and you understand that. Don't ever play under what you're capable of playing. I don't care if you win or lose. That I care about. And I'll do that and say, I got it. That was the end of that. And he never did. And I saw it in practice, so I think he did hear it. The idea is that the external indicators, it does not come from outside, it comes from them, right? And you have to be honest. I ask those 3 questions every time you play. I will leave you with one final story. An old man is visiting the home of his niece. There was an old greyhound there, just like the ones that race around the track. There was the kind of rabbits. His niece had taken the dog in to keep from being destroyed because its racing days were over. The dog strikes up a conversation, the man strikes up a conversation with the dog. Said to the dog, are you still racing? Nope. Well, what's the matter? Are you too old to race? The dog said, no, I have a lot of race left in me. Well, were you no good? No, I wanted $1 million from my owner. Well, what was it? Bad treatment? No. They treated us royally in the kennels. Then why did you stop? The dog said, I just quit. Well, why? The old man said, I quit because after all that running and running and running, I found out that the rabbit I was chasing wasn't even real. And I think you must have the courage, the bravery, as your Chris says, to ask these difficult questions and know you then answer them if you're going to continue to learn. To be prepared for the infinite challenges that this very finite brain, whatever it is that you pick, is going to yield. Be forewarned though, these tough questions don't always give pleasing answers. But the guidance that you is invaluable. So what's the goal here? Self-mastery. Give it effort and having the discipline to take the journey to performing your absolute best to reach your potential, whatever it is. Ultimately, have the courage to ask yourself those questions so you can continue. This is the most important competition, meaning success, and true fulfillment. Thank you for having me. Questions and answers, is that right?
That'd be great.
Is everybody still saying?
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't want to wait. But if it gets late, you know, just give me the hook over here. Questions and answers don't have to do with talk
You had to
about
do it all over again, did you?
Oh, God, no. I'm actually a woman who's trapped inside this body. And I you know, it's actually a hell of a question because I was pretty fanatical as a kid. And I think I had a few boys, 12 and 8, and I would be scared away if they had that same intensity. I'm not sure it was balanced in the sense that I wanted to get to that point. I wanted to fulfill whatever that expectation was that I had of myself. I had great parents, they weren't pushing me. I don't remember anybody saying I must do this. I did want it, truly for myself. But I think that can really get to be, it can get to the bad spots. And I thought, once you get there, maybe it's not going to be quite as fulfilling. And this is something that, to this day, is easy. As I got older, you get better. You understand yourself more than anything else. You're playing a kid's game at 36, you know, I mean, really. But there is a self-challenge to that. And on a personal level, I loved it because it was that you're so much better as an athlete, emotionally and mentally, in your 30s than you are in your teens and 20s, but your body starts to give up. And you have to stop at some point. Everybody is told to leave one way or another, either an injury or a dreams and sorry. Or the competition just go watch. But you're at that moment better than you've ever been. And that was the thing that kept me going. I mean, ultimately the outer game was against gaming. And really enjoyable when I still played men's league. But that learning just about yourself was so powerful. I miss it because you go from being at this very high level, one of 700 people that you do at that level, to just a person going back into the world. And I love it. I love learning a whole career and a bunch of other things, but having that sense of mastery is a very beautiful thing. And it happens, I watch my kids, it happens in the smallest ways still. You know, I went back to class at Yale and there's classrooms trying to bring pictures and you really, you know, when you can nail it in and just get by, so you really try the hardest. And I do think those lessons are great. But I don't know if that journey's for everybody, because those journeys are always there no matter what we do. And I love it. I was surprised how compelling it was as well. The way I'm trying to answer it was very compelling. Yeah.
Have you considered coaching?
I have considered coaching, and I mean, one of the things that does excite me is that aspect of it. Kids, they need role models and they need examples of what to do. Have you ever been in a locker room after a 13-year-old has just lost a championship? They're not sure how to react. They're upset, like they're just at that age where, you know, I'm going to have a sleepover Joe's tonight too, so it's not so bad. And you're getting to the point where if you get unhealthy, and you know, you're like, I'm supposed to be angry. I've seen guys break their stick. I want to show people that I'm upset. I'm sure I feel it. And I think it's really, really important that what is competition? What does it mean? What does winning mean? What does losing mean? know if I was clear enough in my words earlier, but I mean, it's about fulfilling potential and then leaving it big. Go out and do it for the next day and work hard again and continue endeavors. And I think that's lacking in a lot of it. I mean, I think it's really hard to be kids nowadays. Just from my understanding, my limited experience as a father, limited being 12 years. We had more time to grow and see if we liked something. You didn't have to be on a travel team at 6. Your pre-professionalization now is a difficult thing, and I think there's a big gaping hole where we need to talk about the coach a lot, not just when you throw a cross ball well or kick a soccer ball well. It's a long-winded answer saying, yeah, I like coaching. I like the middle aspect of it a lot. I was a goalie. I think they stuck me in there because everybody else knows more. I used to drive out with Mass and Beachy a lot. Teammates of mine, I'd love to listen to how they saw the game. It was very different the way I saw it. I saw it in terms of what they should see it. But the compelling part for me was less strategy as a team and more just the person. Yeah.
Mike, did you play other sports growing up? One of the things that is so, I think, troubling for people my age in this culture with kids is that they're tending to focus on one so early and kind of letting everything else fall by the wayside. We still require the kids to play 3 sports here, but it's getting harder and harder and harder to convince them that that's the prudent thing to do.
God bless you. I totally agree with that. I'm shocked. I had a friend whose daughter was a very good hockey player down in Fairfield County, and she wanted to make the women's Olympic ice hockey team. And, it's like I said, she was like 12 and dominating, and 13 and still dominating at the boys level. Certainly not trajectory. She's 12, 14 years old. I didn't know, right? There's a lot that could happen between then and 5 years later in the team span. And I remember the coach, Ben Smith, who was my assistant coach in the 88 team, and he was the head of the women's program. He had a lot of success, and women's sport was growing, and, tremendous with Title IX and whatnot. Women start to get into this great space where there's competing, there's things to do after they're high school, but it also gets in this ugly space where you're like, okay, you're great at pole vaulting, you're a pole vaulter, and you're not doing anything else now. And that's a dangerous thing. He said, look, she's 13 years old. She's got a lot of years to grow. Sounds like she's a great athlete. He said, we'll teach her hockey. Keep her playing hockey. Have her play as many sports as possible for as long as possible. He said, we need great athletes. If you're not a good athlete, there's not much we can do with you. You learn so much about it. I mean, I played football, I played soccer, I did pole vault one spring. But it's good. It's trying those things, right? Maybe you're really good at some sport. Now you try a sport you're not particularly good at. I always found, honestly, because anybody who's ever picked up a golf club, I used to see a sports psychologist work with a lot of tennis players. Agassi and Sam Press, and he was just a great coach. I'd go through strategy with him in the summer. And we always play golf together. And I'm not a particularly good golf player. I mean, I applied myself to be decent, but I usually didn't, I mean, I was doing other things, and so I liked playing. But it's such a frustrating game, right? You want to see how mentally tough you are. Well, it's pretty easy to be mentally tough at those sports you're really good at, right? When you stink at something, everybody's taking your cash on that 18th hole, whatever it is, it can be frustrating, and you see how your mind reacts. I think it's better with other sports, and as long as you can do that, and for players, as long as you can play different sports. I mean, there is an aspect here that isn't just about developing. I mean, we play sports to get into Division I colleges and play pros and play Olympic, and we also do it because it's awesome, it's fun, and it develops, physically and mentally, emotionally, team bonding. Play as many of them as you can, and I agree. It's really hard. I don't have an answer for that because it is an arms race. My son, I know that my son plays lacrosse. He's a little bit more better, but I used to sign contracts saying I will not play any other sport this spring with this. I will not, if you're on a travel hockey team, it bleeds into the fall and bleeds into the spring. And he's 12. Who is that serving? Maybe the guy was making $5 grand for signing up to this elite program, but it's not serving him or me. And it's hard on the family because you suddenly have this professional. And I think that's a terrible thing. I think it ultimately undermines how you look at a lot of athletes from our era, and you play everything. And now you have guys that play one sport, you're starting 50, the pitcher who's been pitching and only pitching year-round for 6 years, and he's getting a surgery on his elbow because he's got an elbow of a 40-year-old. There's some weird stuff going on. I don't think so. It's physically or emotionally.
So you're talking about all the mental stuff, so 94 game 7, final face off, whatever it was, 30 seconds left. What was going through your mind? Against that
I'm pretty disappointed about the here and now. I always tell myself, here and now, space time, right here. You know, there's no minute ago, there's no second forward as a goalie. I mean, if you even smell a little bit of what's going to happen, you're done. You know, you've got to be just. I didn't play a lot of baseball. Good hitters say they can see the stitches of the ball. You know, they're not thinking, oh, he's throwing it over here somewhere and get a hit. He is watching that thing the whole way, boom, all the way to his back, right? I used to watch Don McCaskick sometimes in practice. My coach, John Rucker, had coached him. I watched this guy go through a practice in Morgan State. So a lot of goalies get out there and they're kind of like, it might hit him, it might not. And then they get ready for the game and just get a few shots and go. This kid went through 22 players that hadn't been to the goal. I mean, he is just as focused as he could be. And I watched him, I was really trying to apply it to my game as I grew. And so, all why? So when you're in that, driveway moment, 17 overtime, screw it, as a goalie, you're saying, all right, here it is. It's a 1-goal game, and it's the 7th game of the Stanley Cup Finals, and if I don't screw it up, we win. And we had a goal scored on us in the 7th game before, tied up in that series. The first game, I blew one, and it was a back and forth. Just mathematical odds. There's no way in hell they're going to score. It's happened many times. But you have to just bite the lip and say, oh, there's no parade in 10 seconds. Nothing to think about. Your whole life's not going to change at all. Just worry about that next shot. You really have to buckle down. And we've been through it a lot. We had a veteran team. And if you look at the picture, I think it's just really, it illustrates what kind of team we had. There's a great picture taken kind of from center ice. And you have Mark Messier kind of jumping up in the air like a little kid. There's toilet paper coming down. People in the stands are all, just in it. It's at 0, you can see the scoreboard. And you got Craig McTavish who took the face off. Still, probably illegally, but tying up the guy and just taking the face off. We brought this kid to our team and gave up some young guy for one reason: he was good at face-offs. And he came all the way for that one moment and pulled the face off perfectly into the corner. Steve Larmer was like the most professional guy I've ever seen. Was in the corner, bear hugging the guy at the puck. Jeff Booker was crushing somebody out. Ryan Leach is exactly where it should. Everybody is, and this was a face off of, I don't know, 1.8 seconds left, something like that. But still, enough time for someone to get a clean draw and a goal. And every single guy out there was a veteran. Everybody was bought in for that moment. Everybody was professional enough to do the right thing in that moment. That's why that moment worked. And so it's pretty cool. If you're asking what I was thinking, I was actually, if you recall, kind of the fireworks went off and all that, but they said, wait, that wasn't quite the ending, and they put the time back on the clock, and it was just kind of a moment drama. And we all sort of just rejiggered ourselves and said, okay, stay 1-1 for 2 seconds in there, and I was just thinking about this shot. I convinced myself they were going to get a shot on me, I was going to save it, and went in the corner, because the guys are so damn professional in front of me. But it's a good question. It's hard to do it. Yeah.
So you talk about here and now and present. So in sports, you do a lot of visualization.
Yeah.
For a goalie, I always imagine that that's what you did. You try to visualize the shot that's perfect. But how do you do that when you're now not looking back?
You mean in a game, how do you do that in a game? That's a great question. So the one coach I had worked with a lot of speed skaters, but mostly tennis players. He was a professional tennis player. He said, you think about this, what do you do in while the game's going on, and as a goalie, you can't really take your eyes off the puck too much even when you're down the other end. You can be a little bit more relaxed, but you better be in the arena, not hanging up in the stands. You have to be there. But there's natural breaks, and it's very hard. He's only talking about work as hard as you can. Let's just say you go for a workout, talk physical for yourself. You work out on a scale from 1 to 10, you work out 10. You don't rest 2, and then work out 10, and then rest 2, work out 10. You don't have this blow-up workout on Monday, sleep 2 hours and party all night. No, we'll all work out Tuesday and then not get any rest. You work out that hard, you better sleep 10, or rest 10, or recover 10. So think about it, your jobs. Might not be physical, but it's a little different. No, if you apply yourself that hard, if you're a brain surgeon, I don't think you sit there and do brain surgery for 24/7. You may have to sometimes, but then you gotta get the scalpel out of your hand and you gotta relax. And you're seeing the same thing. You watch tennis players, and it's unbelievable in the context of what you're saying. Serena Williams or whatever, she's so focused, you're all about the ball, it's coming back here in this rally, it ends. They physically take the racket out of their hand, they blow on their hand, they relax, they shake themselves out. You probably have some visual cue. You look at their, you see somebody has a little red or something like that, I used to, a little marker on the stick, and when your eyes are darting all over the place and there's a girl in the stands and your coach is saying something, it's taking your mind off. If you watch a cat chase a mouse, what is he doing? He becomes the damn mouse. He is on that thing. There's nothing else. You could drive a truck behind him. He is watching that thing. That's what you have to do while you're playing. And there's a stoppage of play. You see the goalie skate around and relaxes. He's letting his mind go. He might talk to his teammates laugh. A friend of mine had played golf with Jeff Fowler. He said it was the most incredible thing. Same thing with golf. 2% of the time you're actually striking the ball. 98% of the time you're going. As physically as undemanding as it may be, I mean, it's a lot of skill. Mentally, it's really hard because if you just did a bad shot, you're in the playoff and Tiger Woods is coming up, it's a hard thing. He would have this routine, hit a ball, visualize, I know exactly where this thing's going to go, do his same physical routine, like 2 swings or whatever, shake his hand and then whack, whatever it is that worked for him. But it was just like loading a gun. Every time it was the same thing. So there was no like, Jesus, 2 seconds left in the Stanley Cup Finals. What do I do now? You've done this in practice, and that's a big deal, is doing it in practice, because you're going to screw it up and you're going to try and get it right. And I'm talking mentally, do it in practice. Pretend it's a game. Do it for 10 shots, figure out what you do. But he would visualize, he would physically go through his routine, and you start to look through that lens and see each good player. He'd hit the ball, whether it goes in that water or up on the green. He says, okay, that means I'm going to do my chipping wedge. That means the wind's coming here. He does it. Then he lets it go for a second. He walks with his caddy. He relaxes. And he goes into his visualization. I'm going to put it this way. And he does his little physical. It's like clock. Why? Because he's got consistency of thoughts. So there's consistency of response, right? And so, what the hell is the original question? But the point is, what do you think about between the time? You focus on that part like a cat and a mouse while it's going, and nothing else. You don't have time. Your awareness has to go from who the players are on the ice and all that kind of stuff. But stop at your play. Now I relax a little bit. I joke with my partner, defensive partner comes down. Okay, relax. But now I kind of go through my own routine. Who's out on the ice? What hand is it? You better know all those things. What's the point of the game? Are they down? Watching the Rangers game yesterday. Rangers are going to take some chances. So if I'm hopefully the goalie and I'm down 3-1, it's a playoff game. I don't think they're going to dump the chase. They are going to, everything's going in the net. They're going to whack it. They're going to be physical, all that kind of stuff. You kind of know the situation. But it is that work really hard. And most of the work you do as a goaltender, when you're talking about hustling, you're not skating up and down the ice. You're standing down there. Wow. But your focus is hard. And maybe more so than the forwards. Forwards can go up and down the ice 4 times, get off the ice, and talk about last night, how great is this? And then they go out and do it again, go away about 60 minutes, and you don't know. There's 30 shots a game, that's 30 seconds. That means 59 minutes and 30 seconds. You're prepared for what might be in the day.
I have a question. Sure. What was your relationship with the defense?
What was my relationship with the
Well,
defense?
I asked that because I know some of the defenses who play with Patrick Block, and they hate him.
Well, Patrick, I actually respect a lot. He sounded like a very tough teammate, but he's a very honest teammate. And I've heard stories about him. He was a very good leader in the locker room, but a little bit hard, Look, I've played in this league every once in a while now. Defense, it was always hardest position. And so, all these years I was young at D, I should have probably played defense just once to see how hard it was. I had a very good relationship with him as a quarterback should as a line. You don't have a forward. You really don't. You're setting up a puck for him, your eyes, and they turn around, some big gorilla's about to put him through the board. So, you better be communicating. But you want them on the same page, and you better have the humility to say, my fault, I screwed up. Or when they screw up, you don't need to let 17,000 people know, he screamed, or he took that, just go, right, I got it, sorry. And you better show that respect, because they're not trying to turn against you, you're all trying to win, but if you want them to be working extra hard for you, you better work extra hard for them. I was lucky, I picked so many people in New York, and for the most part, I just had great guys. And you're naturally close to the deep, because you guys are going through it all the time. What are we doing with Tony? What are we doing? Short-handed situation, you keep having Yager or someone get a break, what do you see like? So he would have been really close to them. The closest guy that I had on the team was Leachy, and he was light years ahead of most people out there in terms of his quietest guy in the world, a great communicator. I saw the puck happen on Gretzky 10 minutes before it happened. Incredible comrade, and just his competition level was through the roof. So I think that's a big deal. I didn't talk much about team sports, and I just didn't have time to do it all, but I mean, you're really basically saying the first responsibility is yourself, and they better know that you're working as hard as you can. That's the only way they respect you. And that's what teammate should have, and that's what teams build upon, that mutual respect. So if I know that you're going through the wall for me, I will gladly do it for you. And as soon as that trust breaks down, it's everything. We've been there. Work teams, whatever teams, and I think sometimes the sports metaphor can be overplayed, but I think that's where, wow, you are drilled in team sports to be a teammate, even when you don't like someone. I had some guys on my team. Mark Messer was unbelievable. You never know whether you like the guy or not, but he's on our team, so he is my family. He is my best friend. I love this kid. I'll do anything for him. That guy was traded later on and said, yeah, he wasn't great. I didn't know that. I mean, you wouldn't know. You should know. Because that guy is part of your organization and is trying to help you, and more so than me. You have to embrace that as a big deal, a really big deal of respect.
After retirement, once you retired, did you have like a period of what the heck you're going to do, or were you like focused on where you're going to do something like?
It's a great question. I don't think there's a big gap there. The question was, what were you thinking when you retired? Did you have this period where you were going, what am I going to do with myself? Absolutely. I'd always known I'd go back to school. I left Wisconsin after 2 years, and I'd gone to summer school before I had kids when I lived in New York and Columbia. And when my wife and girlfriend was going to Cornell, it was a great place to work out. And I always just chipping away at the degree. But anyway, just go back full, and it completely undergrad and and so I was very excited by that. There was only a gap there. I wanted to kind of check that box. But I liked school, I really do, and it was fun to go back. So that was a great segue, and I was lucky, because that was maybe the only thing. I lived in New York, I got no kids. It was complicated by the fact that I was actually injured. I had a fractured skull, a brain injury. It was really, I felt bad for a long time. I physically so exhausted. It was a crazy thing, but when you get a concussion like that, it can really take the stuffing out of you. And I actually moved out of New York, moved right north of New Haven, and sort of just said, all right, I got a young family, perfect time, concentrate on that team, my other team's going on. In some ways it's more depressing to be told you can't play, you're injured. In other ways it's easier because you don't have to make a choice, and someone said, you're done. And it wasn't an angle that I could kind of come back and see. If I heard it, who cares, it's great, so he said, all right, that's the way it is. But there's no question, and I think most guys just don't have any clue. And I tell you, I was pretty prepared to go on. I had a lot of interest. Man, there's a big hole there, and I think, as you were saying before, you're going from really being at the top of the profession to just feel like, geez, and I think that's where you kind of come back to. The cool part is you can keep learning. The world's a different place even when I probably was first entering college in terms of you're going to need skills to do a number of probably different careers even, just to be able to work environment is. And so I thought, you feel ancient. That's, I think, the thing that gets you. I was 36, 38 when I retired, 38. That's the thing that really hurts, is that you feel like you're so old. I had a professor when I was at Yale, and this guy was brilliant, 82-year-old guy, Greek history. And I came in his office, and, I've got to thinking about this job or this career. He's like, yeah. I go, and I was still sheepish about it, because now I'm looking at my classmates are 20 years old, 21 years old, maybe I'll go to Brazil for a year, maybe I'll look at Goldman, maybe I'll surf. I'm thinking maybe try all these things, because you're 20, right? I feel like I'm 100 years old. Because in the hockey world, there's kids coming in that's half my age, and so I'm like, oh God, I'm so behind the 8 ball, I'm so behind the curve here. I said, I'm thinking of this career, and I'm kind of interested in that. And he's like, yeah. I go, well, what do I do? He's like, how old are you? I said, I'm 36. He's like, then try it. And what do you mean? He's like, you're young. If it stinks after 2 years, do something else. I was like, only 83-year-olds tell me that, make me feel young, But he had a good point. Like, try it. And so I sort of kind of got out of the shell there as you not a very narrow world of professional sports, and it's a lot of it's just it's divorcing a lot of reality, and a wonderful place, but I think you have to make an effort to climb out of it, and I think most guys are a little bit lost. The biggest thing is you just miss it. It's fun. I love playing to this day. I'm not quite as good as I once was, but just going around the ice and all that. I love practicing with the guys. It's a wonderful thing. So I think there's a morning of a life you want to live that's coming. And so you have to fill it with something else, and school's a good segue in a career. I think you've got to move, you can't just go, this is what I did a decade ago, now what? Go with anything at first, we don't have to do it. Any others? You all right? You good? Okay. It's like an option. Really. Incredible places and all the videos.
Thank you.
Thank you.